What's up, Better Days fam, and welcome to my first ever full-length YouTube tutorial. I have never done this before, so if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will do my very best to respond. We are going to be making macrame boot fringe. Obviously a staple item in anyone's wardrobe. This variation can be made with 3.5 millimeter or 4 millimeter cord. I have not made it with anything smaller or larger in diameter, but this is sort of something that you are going to have to hand tailor to your shoes anyway. Honestly, feel free to use whatever materials you want. This is just a overview of a general idea. And I'm going to show you a couple of different variations that you can do with it. They can be tied both in the front and in the back. So, versatility is key. You also want to keep in mind the width of the opening of your shoe. Some are larger than others. Some shoes are slip-ons. Some you tie with laces. So it all kind of depends on the actual physical structure of the item you're making it for. If you want to replicate it in a way that can be universal, you will eventually figure out how to do so with the cord that you are using, regardless of whether it is 3.5, 4 millimeter, or something that I haven't specifically gone over in this pattern. Our basic supplies will be 2 sets of 30 cords cut to 2 feet long each, which is 60 cords total, and then 2 6-foot cords for the straps and or laces, and then scissors and a ruler and measuring tape. So first, we're going to take one of those 6-foot cords and divide it into thirds. This is all approximate. We're just trying to get it kind of even in the middle. And I'm going to be attaching it to these 2 S hooks with a lark's head knot. The first one you can do pretty easily. I know I did that pretty quickly, but there are plenty of tutorials online as to how to do a lark's head knot. This way is how to do it with a single strand. A little bit more complicated, but I hope you get the general gist. You're gonna have to secure both sides. I have on the top of my macrame rack a little nub thing that prevents things from sliding off, but on the other side I just used a piece of scrap cord. You can use tape, it doesn't really matter. So we're gonna be attaching the cords with lark's head knots, the same way we did to those S hooks. You're gonna start with 2 in the middle, and that will form your first square knot. There's gonna have to be a little adjusting because, this cord is kind of loose. It's not super taut at the top. Unless you want to make it that way, feel free. But otherwise, you will typically have to do a bit of adjusting. So you'll start with your first center cord and your first center square knot, and then build a triangle from there. So basically what you're just doing is having the 2-foot sections, so they are 1 foot on each side, and then attaching it to the strap with a lark's head knot, and then tying it in a square knot. And then you will be repeating this on the other side, and then building it slowly into a triangle, which I will demonstrate. Also, all of these shots are slightly sped up, even the ones that seem like they might be normal speed. They are sped up, so don't worry about the fact that you're not nodding as fast as I am, because I'm not nodding as fast as I am. So here we are building the other half of our triangle, obviously. So this is a square knot. This is a slowed down version of what I've been doing. If you are not familiar with macrame, there are also lots of tutorials online on how to make a square knot. It's one of the fundamental knots of macrame, and weirdly enough, I make mine differently than other people do, but it doesn't matter which direction you go. This is just the way that I've always done it. There are a lot of knot tutorials online that will show you how to make a square knot, but they are just facing the opposite direction, and it does not matter however you want to do it, however you feel comfortable doing it, however you are just naturally ingrained in doing it from being a macrame choker kid from the 90s, it does not matter as long as it is a square knot. So here's the beginning of our first triangle. Now I'm going to speed up the video so it's not super duper long and boring, but basically you'll just keep adding cords on each side and then building those into your center triangle. And counterintuitively, for this particular design, your center triangle will actually be 1 knot shorter than the 2 triangles on either side of it. And that is because if you are tying it from the front on a boot, it will typically go under the loop, the pull-on loop on the back of the boot. And if you're tying it in the back, it will go through that same loop that most boots have on them, so you can pull them on and off. Either way, the short triangle in the center will lead to it being less, fringy if you face it forward, and then in the back, less long and likely for you to trip on it because it will be under that pull-on loop, which I'm now demonstrating. So here I am tying it onto the actual boot. I'm just tying it, through the laces, and then I'm going to use the actual shoelaces to tie, a double knot on top. First, I like to knot off the actual laces and trim those so they are differentiated from all the other cords. Just makes things a little more organized. And then I'm going to just proceed to tie them in whatever order I feel makes sense. Some are longer than others. You can, if you want, make everything perfectly uniform. It is 100% up to you stylistically, so I'm speeding this up just so it doesn't take forever. I like to trim as I go because otherwise you kind of just have this mess of cords, and it keeps me more organized and just helps me see the overall design and whether I am making everything in a straight line or at least something resembling such. You definitely do not want to be tripping over these or selling them and having anyone else trip over them. So that's what it ends up looking like after you're done. And here is my collection of boot fringe. As you can see, I have several variations, which I'll go over shortly. And here are some flat lays, just so you can see the difference in texture. That's a 3-ply. So hopefully those instructions were clear. Like I said, this is my first video tutorial, so leave me a comment if there's anything you have any questions about. I cannot guarantee I will respond immediately, but I will do my best. So today we made this with 4mm 3-ply cord. Basically like rope. You can see the rope-like elements. This is the same exact design in 4mm single strand. This variation is essentially the same kind of cord, braided. It's a little bit more structured than 3-ply or single strand, like what this one is made out of. This one is very soft. This is a little more structured. Here I just added the knots on the bottom to give the fringe a little bit of extra weight. This one, we went all out and added some beads. But this design is made entirely straight across. And as you can see, these two variations are made with the cords knotted entirely straight across, while these are knotted in triangles. The lengths included in the video will give you enough cord to make either variation. That said, when you make enough of them, you will learn exactly how much cord you need, how long to make a strap, how long to make the overall fringe, and if you want to make it with thicker cord, thinner cord, by all means. Remember that this is going on a tangible object, and therefore it needs to actually fit on said object. So when in doubt, use a reference. But anyway, yeah, that's my free macrame boot fringe tutorial. I know this is probably the most random thing ever, but like, they're pretty freaking cute. I can prove that by wearing them.